Hey gang, I'm actually a proponent of the CAGED system when it comes to visualizing the fretboard and moving around the neck. But a lot of players find it difficult and then give up. The system I'm going to show you today is a lot easier and really effective. Let's check it out. You may have experienced that feeling. I know I have, that there's just so much to learn on the guitar and I gotta learn it all and it's just overwhelming. You know, if you've studied the CAGED or the 3-note per string systems for scales and you find it just too much, you may be tempted to just give up altogether and say, heck, I'm going to just memorize everything and do it song by song. But there's an easy way to get started for real. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. This particular system I'm going to show you today apparently was something that Django Reinhardt used or something similar to it. So it's got pretty decent pedigree. Let's have a look. You probably know how to find a particular note on the E and the A strings. For example, here's a G on the E string and on the A string. And here's a C on the E string and on the A string. Now for this to work, you're going to need to find both of those notes, one on the E string, one on the A string. These are what I'm going to call your anchor notes, and they're the crux of the technique for chords, arpeggios, and scales. If you're learning something in, say, B flat, you've got to be able to find a B flat on the E string and on the A string. Okay, that's the first step. Now let's apply this to learning major chords and to learning a scale, the major scale. Suppose you want to learn major chords up the neck. Now this works for all sorts of chords, but let's do majors just to see how it all works. Let's start with G. All right, the first thing we do is we find a G on the E string. There it is right there at the 3rd fret. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find a chord such that our fingers lay down toward the bridge from that G. And that is a G major chord such that that happens. So that's the chord we're going to memorize. Okay, now that we've got that down, we have to find a G on the 5th string, or on the A string. It is right here at the 5th string, 10th fret. Now for this one, we're going to do it twice. The first thing we're going to do is the same as what we did before. Find something such that the fingers lay from that G toward the bridge. Here's one right here. And you'll memorize that. And now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to find it such that our fingers lay from that G toward the nut of the guitar. Here's a major chord that does just that. And you'll memorize that one as well. And now you've got 3 ways you could play a G major chord. Let's do this again for C major quickly. Here's the C that's on the E string and the chord that's associated with that. And now here's the C on the A string. Here's the chord that goes toward the bridge from that note. And here's the chord that goes toward the nut from that note. Did you see how you got exactly the same shapes for the C as you did for the G? That's going to happen every time. And it doesn't matter what key you do it in, B flat, F sharp, whatever, always works. Okay, now let's see the real power of this by applying it to a song. That song might be like a G, a C, and a D, like a blues, a 1, 4, 5. The idea is you'll be able to play it without even moving in multiple places on the neck. Check it out. Okay, so you can see how using that technique, starting with those two anchor notes, one on the E string, one on the A string, and finding three forms can move you all up and down the neck. In this case, it was for chords, but we can do it for minor chords, we could do it for seventh chords, and we can do it for scales as well. So let's do an example in G. Let's do the major scale. All right, first we find the G on the E string. There it is on the 3rd fret. And here's our scale pattern with the fingers falling toward the bridge of the guitar. All right, so that's one scale pattern we'll need to get down. Now let's find the G on the 5th string, or on the A string. And now here's a scale pattern with the fingers falling toward the bridge. We'll need to spend some time with that. And now here is a scale pattern with the fingers toward the nut, or falling toward the nut of the guitar. And we'll need to get that down as well. Okay, so I am not going to snow you and tell you that that takes you 10 minutes to do. It's going to take some time to get those patterns down, but you've only got 3 of them. When you move on to the next key, guess what? They're going to be the same. Okay? When you go on to C or D or F sharp or B flat or whatever, they're all going to be the same, and trust me, it falls into place pretty quickly. I'm going to do a demo here to show you that you can cover a lot of the neck with just those 3 patterns and come up with some really nice sounds. You know, it's a great way to start. And once you get the hang of it, you're probably going to want to move on to CAGED. When you do, you'll want to avoid the pitfalls. So check out this video where I show you how to avoid all the pitfalls of CAGED that I've seen a lot of my students fall into. We'll see you on down the road.